go.
Cheers.
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 Yeah.
Cheers.
To another edition of Road Tripping.
Channing, you stay over there. You still have the sticker on your thing, Channing.
Where?
For
On your
those
cup. He's like, where?
for those who
got
are
one
just
too.
tuning in for the first time, I'm Allie Clifton. He's Richard Jefferson. He's Channing Frye, and the man that needs no introduction. Steve Nash. Welcome back to the network.
Thanks.
Hi, Steve.
It's
Apparently.
good to be back here.
So you were here during the opening of the network.
Right, like back Time Warner.
Yeah.
And they and the Lakers partnership. Like it's the exact same time I came here for the sign with the Lakers. So
You and Dwight.
Bennett, me, and Dwight. We had a hell of a cover of Sports Illustrated.
Should we just get right into it then? Should we start there?
What else
Yeah.
we doing here?
Yeah.
This man got things to do.
Yeah. Let's start with the fact that during his 2.0 resurgence here in Los Angeles with Dwight, things are going well for him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm shocked, but I'm surprised.
I'm shocked.
You know, like he's just had such an up and down physical
Yeah.
kind of road the last many years since his back surgery. Like you almost think like maybe he just can't do it anymore, and like he looks great. He's physically, he's in a totally. He's almost a different build now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 30 pounds lighter, but still shredded and huge.
Right.
The cool thing for him, and I think it'll help a lot of veterans that are like kind of looking for jobs. Like Dwight was one of those test subjects, right? Where like, Dwight, if you can accept this role, and they had like multiple interviews with him, and they wanted to make sure that he was willing to be a possible second big, and he was like, dude, whatever you guys need me to do, I'll do. And he's flourished in that role. He's been one of their big offseason pickups.
So he's on a two-way contract.
A two-way contract, most likely.
So essentially, it's day to day.
Yeah, it's day to day. As long as he performs, then, you know.
But there's no pressure on him. He comes in like Anthony Davis is the man. LeBron gets everybody going. Danny Green shoots the next shots. All he has to do is like just rebound.
Yeah.
And he's the hero. He does literally the minimum. And he's like,
he's not even starting.
yeah, and like anything except for suck. And everyone's like, Dwight's doing great.
There's some truth to that, but also like if he moves well, that guy can really defend the basket.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he's locked in and wants to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, you know, when he wasn't physically at his best, and he's like, I also want to prove I'm 20-game post player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got all these other things he's trying to accomplish. It took away a little bit from him just being like, I'm shutting down this area of the court, which
Yeah.
he can do like very few people I've ever seen.
Well, and it's one of those things too, as guys get older, you have to, at some point in time, you have to change your mentality. It's like, Dwight, this is no longer about you. You don't have to prove to people that you can get back to your 09, your 2012 form. Like, you don't have to prove to people. This is what we need you to do, and if you do this, great. We talk about it, accepting your role with enthusiasm. If they're like, dude, you're not our best player, you're not our second best player, you don't have to prove anything, but if you go out there, block shots, rebound, do all the things that you need, you can kill. And that's what he's doing right now, which is good for him. I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised, because Dwight's a goofball.
Yeah.
Very similar to Channing, where you just don't know what you're gonna get.
We're a different goofball. I'm more of a low-key goofball.
When we were,
With that sweatshirt,
With that sweatshirt, you're gonna say you're low key?
Steve, fashion.
I need to know everything you think and feel about Channing Frye, because when we were getting ready to do this episode and Channing threw out Steve Nash, I was like, wait, what? Steve, like you and Steve have that kind of relationship?
Yeah, I got Texas Sherp Dog sometimes, man. Listen.
You got a what?
The Sherpa. He's the guy that got us to the top of the mountain.
He's the Sherpa.
The Sherpa.
I need to know.
Did you have any
I need to know
idea?
your
I
take
don't
on.
really know what to say.
Did you have any idea? Did you have any idea when he started being your team? You're like, oh, Channing Frye is gonna come. He's gonna be our center. Cool. And then you started talking to him, and you realized, like, oh,
Channing's a great teammate, and let's leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
He's the best.
Dude,
I mean, we had a great. How many years did we play together?
4, 3,
Three
4.
or 4, yeah. Great time. Awesome teammate, fun playing with him, and we just, you know, like our teams had a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, and
Dudley.
yeah.
Amari.
I mean,
Orlando Tucker.
Yeah.
It was funny.
we had a great cast. And
you guys knocked you
Leandro?
guys knocked the Spurs out of the
LB.
playoffs. You guys swept us.
Oh.
I remember that. That was a fun time. That was a really fun time.
That's the only
only-
time. Yeah, that's the only time I've seen Steve cry.
I swear, well, that's not the only time I cry a lot, but
Oh, are you emotional? Oh.
but I I thought we were reconnecting. They're like, oh, kindred spirits.
Oh, we cry. We all like to cry.
No, but I think legit for me, like I'd have to look this up, but I feel like I'm like 1-9 against Pop in the playoffs, and that was like
The fact that you've played against Pop 9 times in the playoffs is absurd. And I'm glad to be a part of the one.
That's why.
That's why. That's literally why. They're like, God, you're 1-9. It's like, well, that one, they had Richard Jefferson on the team. And so that's part of the reason why are
How
you
many
look so
people
sad?
liked you when you were in San Antonio?
Oh,
huh?
zero.
No,
Zero.
But like, that's part of it. Like, if you don't give a like, then it's just like, you don't like me. Sorry, guys. Like, I did my best. I was 4th on the team in shot attempts and 4th in the team in scoring. Yeah, it's crazy how that works. It's crazy how that works.
What was it, a bad experience for you?
No. You know what? It was a bad experience for the fans and the organization. Me, I had a great time. I had a great time. I did have it. No, it was. You know what it was? And the NBA, and when you were, how long did you play?
18.
18. I played 17, Channing on the low end, 14. When you do
Talent.
talent sometimes trumps that. As he pours more. With the how do you
drink to
pour
these
with a
Texans.
pinky
Do you,
up?
and he's even drinking it with his pinky up.
Yeah.
Or do you really do that now?
No, I don't do that.
He's
Allison.
you know, it's like the league changes every like 5 to 7 years. Like how the league is playing and how it's changing. I went from being like a scorer and playing a certain style, and then all of a sudden I got there and they're like, well, we appreciate everything that you've done, but we need you to do this. And I didn't do a great job of accepting that role early on, and it was like hard to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I constantly give credit to Pop and Chip England and all those guys for helping me, because had I not made that adjustment when I did, I wouldn't have had the longevity that I ended up having. But yeah, that transition from averaging 20 points a game the prior 3 years and then going to like, hey, we want you to stand in the corner, play defense, and shoot corner threes at a really good rate. And you're like, okay. That first year, I did not do well.
But didn't you do well that you came back the next year?
Came back the next year, was 3rd in the league in 3-point percentage. No one cares. Sorry for improving. But no, but it was. But then we were number 1 seed and then lost to Memphis. That's when Memphis.
Yeah, but the league changed though, because I remember they were really like post slow it down team, and we went out there and basically boned them, and they completely. Then the next year they were like shooting the crap out of threes and playing like a mix between us and them.
Yeah, you were there around the transition where they used to go into Timmy in the post.
Yeah.
And then Pop figured out, like, we have to play fast. And it wasn't fast up and down.
No, and
it was like constant movement. They just turned you over and made you make tons of quick decisions and make mistakes. And they got a lot of corner threes.
And they keep changing, and it's like they're still continuing to change. You look at now that they got Dejounte Murray back, and I think DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. The fact that the Spurs, which is a super small market, can continue to maneuver to get NBA stars in there is impressive. But no. When you look at your Phoenix teams, and we used to battle against you when you were in Dallas and I was in Jersey, and Jason Kidd, you guys played together. So Jason used to love to play against you from a competitive, respectful standpoint, right? And so to watch those battles, and then to watch you go to Phoenix, and then to show up in San Antonio and trying to watch Tony Parker trying to slow you down, that wasn't a lot of fun.
Up next on Road Trippin'.
Yeah, but they gotta talk.
He's like, that's what I do. We get in the locker room, I'm like, technically. I was always an underdog. I was always a late bloomer. So for me, I didn't like come into the league like kids nowadays when they come in at 19. They've been told how great they are since they were little. Yeah. I was like always scratching and clawing, trying to make my way. I had one scholarship offer, like got drafted, and everyone was like, yeah, he'll probably be a career backup. Like that was, I never settled or thought that, but that was kind of the word on me. So I always played the long game. I always knew like, okay, I just got to outwork people and stay with it. And maybe it's in December, maybe it's next year, maybe it's in 3 years. I'll figure out a way to get there.
Yeah.
But like I had some, I had to become more athletic. I had to become, more aggressive as a scorer. I had to be a better finisher. Things like I still had development to do. I didn't come in the league with all the tools.
Yeah.
I had a few, but I had to really work to get there. So it was good for me.
Ask him his big break in college.
Jesus.
What was your?
Brought this
Oh,
up.
yeah.
You would always remind me, dude. I was sitting here so
What was your
excited.
It wasn't a
big
big,
break?
it wasn't
Well,
a big break,
it
but
was
it
a
was
big
one
moment.
of his like
coming out
moments.
My freshman year in college, we beat the University of Arizona
Oh, thank God.
in the NCAA
God,
tournament.
these two need to be talked off a ledge all the
I
time.
think we were the second. Pretty sure the second 15 seed to beat a 2
seed, and it was Damon Stoudemire. They had a
had
loaded
5
team.
pros.
They were supposed to be in because they went to the Final Four the year before, I believe, or 2 years
Can't
before.
remember, but they had Damon Stoudemire, Khalid Reeves, Chris Mills, Reggie Geary.
Blair, Joseph Blair.
I think what was not Sean Rooks? What was the other
Tom Silver?
center they had? No.
Tom Tolbert.
How old am I? We were teammates, bro. So.
Steve Kerr.
How old am I?
Yeah, no, but that's still because it was like luckily history, but when we were in college, that was always that mark. Like, yo, it made him feel better that Steve Nash became Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, made him
But
feel
it was
very
like
good.
Santa Clara and Arizona, one of the only 215s, and it was like because there had never been a 116 law, so the 215 was the only thing that you can point to, and obviously, he was, and is a Hall of Famer. But yeah, no, we were ingrained like, hey, don't
let that
let that shit happen to you.
Arizona had a bunch of first round exits.
Yes.
But it was like so volatile. It's like Final Four, first round. Final Four, first round.
Well, no, Channing didn't make it to a Final Four.
Well, it's Channing,
but so yeah, it was like first round.
My fault.
Yeah,
It's a guards tournament, guys.
Were
Obviously.
you the best player on the team?
Yes.
Oh,
I can't dribble the ball up the court. I still can't dribble.
I saw you turn over the ball multiple times during that stretch.
oh speaking of turnover, can we actually show one of his bright
we had
turnovers?
turnovers?
Can we show one of those?
That could be all day if we're looking at one of his turnovers.
We have a few clips that
I
Channing
wanted
would
to
have
get the
liked to
clip
show.
where I tried to go through my legs, and you were on the bench, and you were like, "What the are you doing?" I mean, we were up by a lot, and I went like this and went to crossover, and that thing just went pew. And you were like coming in the game, like, "What the are you doing?" I was like, "I'm so sorry."
No, wasn't it fun? Wasn't it like you gotta understand? Wasn't it fun to know that you could say almost anything
Yes.
to Channing
Oh,
and just be
yeah.
like, yo, what the are
Yes.
you thinking right now? He's like, I don't know, man. I just
All right, take a look at this. Channing, what happened?
Yeet.
First of all, you even stepped in bounds.
Well, you know what?
First of all, that's pre-high def.
That's New Jersey versus.
Hang on.
Yes.
Hang on. Channing.
Look at Isaiah, so mad. I will look at
That
him.
was against the net. Isaiah
Look
wanted
at,
to
oh my God.
Isaiah wanted to fire you.
He is
He's like this dude.
Look, he steps on the line. He's inbounds.
Who were you throwing
That-
it
What-
to?
You know what? That was like inbound rage.
Yeah,
I was
He just
actually
like,
mad. I
I'm
was
just
actually
throwing
mad
this
before that.
shit is
And so I was
fun.
I'm
like,
mad at that
this.
sweatshirt.
And just do it. But then I saw Isaiah's face, and like I said, I'm probably gonna die. And I work with Zeke all the time. He's the most like nicest human being. But then he has this other side that's not so nice that I was terrified about. So I'm like 23, and he looks at me, and I just go, oh, God.
So moral of
That
the
was-
story,
was
you
that-
should probably have left the passing and the dribbling to Steve.
Was that the last time you ever inbounded the ball?
No, they let me do it one more time.
Dribbling was a wild ride for Channing.
Oh, it was so fun.
I was so
Still.
tired.
It
It's so
was must-see
tiring.
TV. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh,
He's dribbling.
If I dribbled it more than twice, who knew what was going to
What is
happen?
he trying to accomplish right now? I have no idea.
So people give me a lot of because they were just like,
Amazing.
Richard, you would have been nothing without Jason Kidd. And I was like, yeah, that's a large portion that's true. But there was other point guards that I could have accomplished. Channing was literally nothing though. Like Channing was like literally nothing. He was a top 10 pick. The Knicks gave him away.
And
then he
Zach
rotted-
Randolph's
shut
a
up.
perennial
Shut up.
traded.
He was
Zach
rotting.
Randolph.
He was rotting in Portland.
I was
he
rotting
did
in
not
Portland.
give even a qualifying offer, right? They were like, we don't
I got
even
a
want anybody
low-key
to
offer.
watch.
I got a low-key offer. I
Shut
just
up.
didn't take it.
No, it's like they were just like,
really
Are you
want to-
exaggerating right now?
No. They wanted him to leave. They were like, Channing, leave Portland. And he lives there, so he loves it. He was like, I'm so sad to go. And then he gets teamed up with you. He gets teamed up with you,
not just you.
in Phoenix. No, with Steve. It was
I didn't
no
even
one
co-
else.
I didn't come off. I came off the bench after a year, so I played more with Gora than I did with Steve.
Should we look at some of your better clips?
It was
Ooh,
all
yeah,
Steve.
let's look at the better
Steve, how's
clips.
he going to try and not
It's
give you
true.
all the credit?
Yeah, the one where Channing hit the
was a
game
great
winner in
play.
Indiana.
He was.
Indiana?
Remember he had 26 against
Steve
us?
got,
That was his coming
Steve
out.
got
Wait,
super
wait.
excited
Look at this.
about this.
Look at this assist. Right in Nick
ew.
McMillan's grill. Yeah. Look at Gortat.
Look at him.
So Channing, Channing, for the ones on the audio side, you need to kind of explain what we're watching because
The
they can't
hype
see.
Channing is the best.
So you're in Indiana.
Okay, I'm in Indiana. Now, mind you,
Wait, did you see Dudley talking
so right here, right?
That was
I
not even
just
Nate
already
McMillan. That's the
don't-
wrong coach,
It
dude.
doesn't matter. I did it for him. Look, so right there, it was a pretty tough game. I think Dante Jones was hacking people.
Yes.
And they end up, drawing this play for me. And I think that's Paul George or Danny Granger. And I was like, dude, don't get this shot blocked because Steve's going to get upset.
I mean, I already
Sorry,
donated the
puppy.
last shot to you, so you better.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I know
best-
it.
And
But
the,
dude,
and the
donated the
best
last
thing,
shot.
definitely donated. The best thing about it is that there would have been no way you guys would have drew that up if you were down one. You only draw it up because you're like, worst
I
come
love
to
the
worst,
fact
Channing,
that,
and we
like-
go into
Yeah.
overtime.
I love that you just walk off.
Oh, no,
You
no,
got
I
this
was
like
cussing.
death stare, like you're so.
I was cussing so much. I think I said, this is what I do. And Steve went to, he goes, Channing, you've only made like 2 of these. So I was like, yeah, but you got to talk.
He's like, that's what I do. We get in the locker room. I'm like, technically,
That's only happened once.
doing that once is not that's
No,
what
that's
I
not
do.
what
You
you
say
do.
that after you.
After
Like, but hey, I did it the actual next game.
You did
I was
actually. Where was that?
New Jersey.
Yes.
I was so crappy all game.
Yes, facts.
And then Alvin goes, hey, at this point,
Are you gonna make a
you already
shot?
suck. You're like- and I said, you know what?
You did. I remember
I
that.
made that. It was like, I was like, this is what I do.
Up next on Road Trippin'.
All right, let's get back to the Lake Show.
No, I want to ask this question.
Okay, well, what I'm
When you
Well, I tried to compare Trae Young to you in a sense of like, you could have been much more of a scorer than you were, especially later in your career when you figured out the scoring because you were 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from the free throw line, but you still stepped into the court trying to make everyone else around you better. And I still believe that that's a lost art, right? Like that's a lost art in the game of basketball because you, Jason Kidd, John Stockton, a lot of that generational point guards. Now it's more about scoring, and then when you get trapped or when you have that, now you assist. How do you see the game kind of changing now?
I mean, you're definitely. I mean, it's correct. It's like I grew up, and I think everyone kind of in my era grew up. If you're a point guard, it was about largely like the traditional kind of viewpoint of the game was you run your team. You set up the offense, you make plays for your teammates, you're a leader, you're a coach on the floor. Nowadays, and rightfully, we realize that, like, you shouldn't hamstring someone to just be that.
Yeah.
They should be able to attack. And we have so many athletic, agile, skilled, mobile guards that are so difficult to cover. It's right that there's so many of them are attack oriented. Having said that, I do think there is an element of it that's lost where they could find the balance a little more.
Yeah.
Trey is one of the few.
John Wall.
Yeah.
Wall. Trey is one of the few
John-
that has a real natural ability to
Yeah.
see.
See.
He sees
To
and
see
he can
is
deliver.
key.
And he can deliver. Now, but he's grown up in an era where like like it's about scoring.
Scoring.
So he's kind of on the fence there, but it's exciting to see a player like that who sees even simple hit aheads.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, it's kind of gone.
He does
like,
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the
You know,
thing.
like-
So, in watching you and even the great ones, like I was fortunate to play against John Stockton at the end of his career, playing with Jason Kidd, playing against you and watching you growing up in Phoenix. It's like guards don't understand this pass is as great as a no look, a behind the back, like the simple throw ahead. Like you and Jason Kidd would get assists. You would get it off a make. You guys would, because we were the same in Jersey, you would run and fast break off a make, right? Like, they made it. All right, well, let's
That
go.
was
And then
the
you would throw it
best.
ahead into a three. People used to be like, oh, how's J. Kidd get all these assists? Well, he grabs a rebound, throws it ahead. We shoot it, drive, layup, whatever. He's got a rebound and assist in 5 seconds.
Sorry to
you got it.
interrupt. You don't have to get an assist either. Like if you get the ball and you throw it ahead, you're making a team cover 90 feet or whatever amount of feet from the top of your key to their basket. So that's a hard amount of area. Good math. That's a hard amount.
What did he just say?
I just made something up.
62 feet. That's a hard amount of area to cover.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of like, okay, here they're walking the ball up the court. We're all going to set our defense. We're pushing it here. And where defense is set, and now it's basically a shell drill, right?
Yeah.
that's, you're stacking the deck in your favor. If you throw the ball ahead and even if it's 3-on-3 or 2-on-2, now 2 guys have to cover 2 guys in
a wide space.
Like, that's a lot of space to cover NBA players, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think some of that is players are so used to, like, getting the ball where they operate and going to work.
Yeah.
But I think there's a balance to be made where, you can still do that.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of game to do that. And they want control, so they want to get the ball to their spot, do their thing, instead of, let me throw it up, let my team play 2-on-2 in an open court.
You lived on a farm.
So you
and
legit
used to,
crushed
in the
me for
morning,
being.
tweet the cows to get your
do
milk.
I what? Do I what?
Used to
Can you do the sound effect one more time?
What'd you call it? Tweet?
Tweet?
squeak.
No, that's not how.
This is disgusting.
What are you
Disgusting.
Steve, how did you remain friends with this man?
Let's
Barely. It was on and off
let's
for a lot of
finish.
years.
Like, is this the only episode? Are you going home after this?
Yeah, I go home tonight because I got like a parent-teacher thing and I got some other dad stuff. You know what it is, dad things.
Fascinating.
Kid got hockey
no,
practice.
it is fascinating.
really
horseback
like when
riding
you're actually
lessons.
guest hosting? He's really the guest.
Yeah.
Right, you're guest hosting because
mean,
Channing,
that's-
everyone's
He's
always
an interesting
fascinated.
subject.
Steve,
Oh.
you can come here anytime you want, Doug.
Let's do it.
We can get another guest. We can get you claws. Look at this. We've been doing this. I'm so glad people love us and love listening to us, and we get awesome guests.
I don't think people really like listening to us.
This is amazing.
This is what, that we get to drink and talk to Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you tell Allie? Did you tell him about the time you met him?
No.
Uh-oh.
It's really not that crazy.
What'd I do?
It was 6-man weekend. Do you not remember?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember. This
Remember
year,
the show?
right?
Yeah, it was this year.
yes,
It was
okay.
my first 6-man, obviously, just moving here a year ago.
Yes.
And we were in Shellback.
Yeah. I thought when he said it was like way back in the day. I was like,
You're like, oh no.
You're like, oh, shit. Yeah.
But I was with my college teammate at the time. She came up, and we were at Shellback with Geeter,
yeah.
obviously.
I remember meeting you at Shellback. I just was like, is this like a long?
But it was like my first time meeting you, because Geeter was like, "Oh, let's like walk out," and we were coming to watch you guys play, and you were walking
Team
out
Soho,
with
no one cares.
your wife and newborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Congrats.
newborn,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Newborn at the time.
June 26th.
Congrats.
And Geeter just forced Fanta shots down our throats, a couple of them. It was like 9 a.m.
That's his specialty.
Yeah,
Fanta
Fanta.
shots.
Fanta.
It's Fanta.
Fanta.
Yeah, Fanta.
That's all right.
Fanta? Are you
Fanta. I'm from
French?
Ohio. And so we walk out, and Geeter's like, "Oh, it's Steve." And I was like, "Oh my God." My teammate and I were like, "Oh my God, it's Steve Nash. Like, we've never met him." So we meet you, and we walk away, and my teammate was like, "Yo, we just met Steve Nash."
Very underwhelming.
I was like, I know. It like took us a second.
Very disappointing.
Dude, they're so
Honestly,
disappointed.
one
Such a
time-
letdown.
So,
All right, let's get back to the Lake Show.
No, I want to ask this question.
Okay, well, what I'm saying.
When you played in Phoenix, the second stint, were handshakes a thing?
no,
Like
high
individual,
fives.
like
Yes.
I got the whole deal.
Dude, somebody did a stat. Remember
Yeah,
how many
yeah,
high
yeah.
fives
Okay,
you get?
okay. We ready for this?
Oh, here we go.
ready for this? Okay.
Here we go.
We're gonna flash back.
You know, when the Suns initially talked to me about doing a feature about Steve Nash, I thought it was my big break. But when they told me I'd be sitting through games and keeping track of how many times he high-fived his teammates, things got a little touchy. All right, here with Stat, Amari, how many times on average do you think Nash gives you guys high fives out there?
Oh, high fives. We get high fives from Steve probably after every play, 2-3 times play. So the numbers I can't even imagine what the total number is.
My guess is probably 173.
You know, after a good play, after a bad play, he's always giving high fives.
I would say the average, I would say 80 times.
I'd say maybe over 50.
If there's timeouts and there's my timeouts, the other team's timeouts, and TV timeouts.
No do.
So this feature was done on you, of course, and it continues to roll. On average, do you know what this intern came up with?
Is that
After sitting there.
500 or something?
239, number 39,
Some dumb number.
37.
Dumb.
Something dumb.
Dude,
Yeah.
what was crazy though, even if it was one play, if somebody didn't high five you, you like had a look like, fucking touch my hand.
There is a possession here where you hit every single person.
Oh,
me see.
In
we
the
would
same
all meet
possession.
up and then go to our players. Like if somebody scored, Steve would be in the middle like this, and everyone like fish going through the stream would just slap Steve's hand.
This
And
is
Steve's like,
embarrassing.
let's go.
This is embarrassing.
Why is it? He's a high five dude.
Actually, some guy like wrote a book about. He used it as an example in a book about like I think it's called like the power principle or something.
Yeah.
It was super strange 'cause I never thought of it in that way. I was just trying to bring everyone together, keep everyone upbeat, positive, right? But I guess he's saying like, people think of power, like having power is like an aggressive thing. And he was saying like power is about being able to like people to trust you and dole out compliments and be like willing to share. Like, I'm getting kind of sidetracked, which he's like, that's how you keep influence.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. In a sense, that's what I was trying to influence my team in a positive way. I use it as an example. Zero chance that I ever think about why I'm doing this. I just was like, it was like a natural thing to me. Come on.
Up next on Road Trippin'.
Do you still hoop?
No, haven't played since I retired. Which was,
Me neither.
Me neither.
6 years ago.
Yeah, but you're fat.
I like being fat. It's a gentleman's body.
The second MVP that you won, I remember watching television and they showed there were 8 guys having career highs, right? I remember it was Eddie House and it was like all the guys down the line, they were having career highs in not only in the system, but also playing with you. And it was, again, I credit so much of my success to Jason Kidd because he was always trying to elevate you, always trying to elevate you. Didn't matter if you missed 10 in a row, because then he would just stop passing it to you, right? It's like, but he would never like discourage you. He was like, all right, well, it's time to go to Vince, or time to go to Carey, or time to go. But he was always trying to elevate. And, we talked so much about what's not the point guard position, how it's evolved. But yeah, no, that was something that was like noticeable with you and him, because I felt like you guys were those 2 point guards at the same time that were just going, and you were very different. Like you had an ability to score, right, at a very, very high efficiency rate, where he defensively was so big and strong. So it was like you guys both impacted the game on the same rate, but in very, very different ways. Totally different ways.
But we did share that, like, our personalities were both about, like, we wanted to pass, like, and like, loved it as a creative outlet, an expression, like, like you could sell the joy both of us get by making a clever pass or tricking the defense, but also the pass that was simple. Like it was a fundamental thing that both of our personalities loved. Like every time you step on the floor, it made both of us feel good, right? It wasn't, you didn't even have to ask us to. So, and I also think from my perspective, I like, what do they say? Necessity is the father of invention, or something like that. Like for me, I like, like for me, like I had to.
Rome.
Yeah, it's great.
Just ignore him.
It was a great, it was a great add-on.
Thanks.
That's going to be his next Twitter bio. Necessity.
But like I had to like figure out how I could impact games, and if it was like me and an NBA player getting in a wrestling match, I'm gonna lose 100 times out of 100. If it was about us getting in like a, like a decathlon, I'm gonna lose 100 times. But if I could like, change it, like if I could push the ball, unsettle a defense, deceive, get in the cracks, then I was in a world where I felt like I could dominate a game. Right, but if I tried to like,
you have a rule named after you. You have a rule named after you.
Yeah, the Nash.
The Nash rule.
What is it?
So the
you
Nash
dribble underneath the hoop.
Underneath the hoop.
That's because of you?
Yes. So what he used to do, he used to start on one wing at the top of the key.
Alley, son. Come on,
So what Steve would do is he would drive.
rule.
He would drive underneath the basket. And most of the time in the first couple of years, he would just start dropping dimes to cutters and people in corners. And so the Steve Nash rule was the minute he got underneath the basket and no longer became an offensive threat, like he couldn't score, your job was to fan out to all of the different guys, right? So it was like literally even now, like even after you retire, they're like, hey, we're gonna use the Nash rules with so-and-so, or are the Nash rules here? Because it was something that was so prevalent, and when you played, you found so many different ways. You were one of the first guys that would dribble all the way underneath the basket and then shoot, or dribble all the way underneath the basket and find cutters. And you were one of the first guys that extended that dribble, that they had to invent a rule, right? There's like Peyton rule, there's Jordan rules, there's the Nash
Peyton,
rules.
You have the Allen Houston cut. You have the Nash.
The
What
Nash
else you have?
rules, yeah. Well, there's probably more that we're just not thinking of, but the Nash rules is something
it's,
that.
Again, though, it's like, it was like I had, like, for me, if I drove, I wasn't just going to, like, try to
Chuck one up.
dunk on somebody, right?
No,
So like
You weren't?
right, and like, even like trying to draw a foul half the time, I would not, like, I wasn't getting that. So my thing was, my guy's chasing me, a big's trying to help. If I stop now, my guy can just recover and big gets back. If I keep going, I'm gonna force him into a decision.
Yeah.
And if the big stays with me, there's a little guy with my big under
And
the
you would
rim.
throw it back to the big.
If they try to
Switch.
get back, I got my little 8-footer.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes I would even keep going back into the lane, just waiting for them. Are you gonna make a decision?
Yeah.
Like if you stay with me, I'll find an angle and
Was
find the
this
big.
something that happened organically?
I mean,
Or
exactly.
you
That's what I'm
could
saying
dribble
about
some-
like.
some I was like, where is he going? And then all of a sudden, he'd like get a layup, because some teams don't, like, stupid teams don't talk. So like he would dribble and they'd be like pointing, and he's just dribbling, and like Amari's down there. So the big guy's like, oh, I'm about to get dunked on. And Steve would be like, layup, and you're like, oh crap, he's that close. Like I'm paying attention to like.
Oh, and he had
everything else.
monsters around him, right? That was the hardest part.
He
about
lulled
Steve.
him to sleep.
He had
like,
monsters around. Like Amari
he
was a
playing Kenny G.
monster.
And the alto.
That's what he says. That's the he says to us.
mean,
Like, but no, but
At least
the
I've been
Nash rules
consistent.
was so
This.
crazy.
And
And
friends
this,
like this.
see, it was like they're normal like this.
some of that.
Like
Rawr.
this. Stop it. Stop with the bear.
Rawr.
No, but the,
Grizzlies are
but the Nash rule was
aggressive.
so crazy because, like he said, it was very similar to a quarterback having reads. Where like, if you take away this is where I'm going to go. And it was like he would just dribble under. And so the rules were always that if you're the guard, keep pursuing. Because if the guard stopped pursuing and then he got a big on him, it was barbecue chicken. And then because you had Amari having to on a small, and it was just too much. So the guard's job was just to keep pursuing. And then in San Antonio, they had a thing where it was just you would stay at home with the 3-point shooters, and then like they would guard Steve and Amari or whoever the role guy was 1-on-1, basically 2-on-2. Because they're like, we'll just give up dunks, layups, whatever, and then everybody else keep out to the threes, right? Because they were the most prolific 3-point shooting team. You were again way ahead of the curve back in the mid 2000s. So when you have rules named after you that are still in place today, you were doing something right.
You got a lot going on, obviously, in your life, but do you still hoop?
No, haven't played since I retired, which was
Me neither.
Me neither.
6 years ago.
Yeah, but you're fat.
I like being fat. It's a gentleman's body. Like some people, like right now, everyone's like no carbs. I'm like, all carbs.
No, Steve,
So we're good.
Steve, from thigh to he is like,
Oh,
there's a
I'm a
lot of
man.
dirt. There's a
Kind
lot.
of
There's
like
a lot
in
of
skinny fat
Mongolia,
man?
I'd be a
Oh,
king.
no, there's fat man. There is no skinny fat man.
No skinny anymore.
No. Listen, I got muscle underneath there. It's just, I just like myself right now. This is good.
You feel good, huh?
You should
I'm
keep,
okay.
You should keep.
Could I
loving
cut
your-
back a little bit? Maybe.
Do you
but-
exercise?
Yeah. I just started last week. I do my little class, my little boxing class, do a little 9
Is
round.
that your thing? 9 round?
I just got, dude, my
For a
body
week?
hurts.
It's
I
your
tried
thing.
lifting.
I started last week.
I tried
Guys
lifting.
started last week.
And my body hurt, and I said, nah.
Is there something you like to do? Like, do you like to exercise?
Yeah, I like
You do?
boxing.
Boxing.
Great cardio.
Boxing is actually really good cardio.
Yeah, no, really
It
good
is.
cardio. You know, it is. It is. You definitely will slim down.
Yeah, I just started
that.
last week, dude. Like, listen, like, I just retired this year. Damn, Judgment Jones.
Do you have any wish to go play ball? Like,
God, no.
Nothing.
God, no. I shot a ball the other day. It was like, I said, nope, that's it. That's it for me. I just don't.
How'd it go?
I'll tell you
How'd it
this.
look?
How'd it look?
Here's what happened.
Very Lonzo. Of
The older I got, after winning a chip,
Oh, you hear this guy?
the older I got,
Is he throwing that in my face?
He's throwing it in your face. That's why I say,
No,
like,
I don't have an
I felt like
MVP
you
or
guys are
two.
friends, and he's throwing that
throwing that in my face.
Yeah.
Throwing it in your face. I'm not going to the
Okay,
Hall of Fame.
continue
Being
your story.
sensitive,
Let's see where it
Sally, I
goes.
will tell you that when I was talking to Richard before this, I was like, yo, when you think about Steve Nash, you think of like, I think that he won multiple titles. And then I was like, holy
So now she's
You
actually throwing it in her
and
face. Like
no
there was,
one
I'm
there was
not. Like, I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, I never even made the finals. Made 4 conference finals or something.
it's not easy. And,
No.
and this is one thing, like, even for myself, I was fortunate to go early on in my career and then had a 13-year gap.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Made the playoffs, I want to say 9 of those 13 years. And then obviously in Cleveland, unfortunately, Channing. And then, you know, you hitch up with Braun. But that's similar to what you guys were trying to
up
do.
with Channing.
You and Dwight and Kobe were like, hey, if we get together, we're healthy, we can actually make this push, especially later on in your career where you're like, I can't do this and run the ship for 42 minutes for 82 games. So that's difficult. But people don't understand how hard it is. And she was like, I can't believe it. I was like, yeah, he ran into
you
the
just don't.
Lakers. He ran into the
Spurs, a
Spurs.
lot.
Right. There was, you know, even Dallas had
Spurs.
great teams throughout that
Yeah.
stretch.
Dallas won it once. I went to the finals once after I left there.
Yeah.
What does that say about me?
Up next on Road Trippin'.
He was the one white guy on the AAU team that everybody loved. He was like, where's at? Where's my dog Steve? Where's my dog Steve at? Five players.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge and DeRozan, because they're in San Antonio, Russell Westbrook, and that's really the only people we're talking about that load manage. And if you look, Russell Westbrook is an absolute missile.
Brown loads
Bron
bad.
Bron
won't,
needs
but-
it.
Well, he's not because
Bron
it's been
needs
such a
it.
negative
But you think
connotation.
of the mileage on his body, and
Okay.
if at this point of his career you want him for the long
Okay, you
haul,
put him
right?
on there. That's 6. But you would look at these guys. If you're winning a championship, right? If you're winning a championship, and as San Antonio saying, and I remember when Richard was there, he goes, it doesn't matter what, if you're 1 through 8, you have to win a game on the road to win a championship or to win a series. So if you're 1 through 8, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You need your guys
Like,
healthy.
you need your guys healthy.
Yeah,
So,
and it was just a thought because I think very few guys does Kawhi have any deal that's going to count how many games he starts?
No,
Like, I mean,
no,
the
not
guys,
after
we expect
Toronto.
him to start every game, right? But my point being is that it's just I think the game is going to move in a place where we're much more selective with how we use guys. It's unfathomable right now to be like he starts the second half, of back-to-back, whatever it is. I don't know.
Which is
But why
crazy.
not be like, he's going to get a hell of a warm-up. He's going to get his 3 minutes therapy.
Right.
And he's going to be flying second half when everyone's a little tired. He's going to come starting. And he's going to end up playing 20 minutes.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that you think about? No, but I'm saying when you think about, he was doing that in San Antonio with an older guy that was about to retire, McDyess. And McDyess could have played more years after that, but he was like, no, you're just going to start the second half. We would have DeJuan Blair. He'll start the game in the second half. Like, hey, we might only need to play you 15 minutes because we're cruising, or maybe we need you for a burst.
And it's just an example, and it doesn't have to be the one, but I think these types of scenarios where teams can start to say, like, all right, how can we manage the load of this season creatively instead of it, just being one of these hot button issues. I think the league's going to go in that direction. I think, though, that I don't know if Pop was doing it because of the science of overloading players, work effort, but I feel like Pop did it because he realized the psychological benefits of giving guys an opportunity to check out.
His bench was crazy.
But think
because his
about,
bench plays all the starters all year. So they're like, I have confidence versus
and their system.
LeBron.
Yeah,
in their system.
But I love that he was forward thinking like, I want to give these guys a couple mini vacations during the season so that I know they'll be fresh when it counts. And I don't care that we might lose a game here. It's going to give us.
And Pop is so aggressive where his demands are so high on you the minute you're on the court, right? So he could sit here and be like, what the is wrong with you? You're not tired. You didn't practice yesterday. You didn't play a back-to-back. Like, what is your reason for dragging? Like, that was one of his things. He's like, if I can talk to my guys like that, then I have to make sure that there's no excuses. We didn't have a 2-hour practice yesterday. They're not coming off 3 and 4 nights.
Yeah.
Like, I have found ways to rest them so that when I demand the most from them and the highest level of intensity, they are ready to match that because they have the energy that maybe a couple other high-level guys don't, because they didn't load manage or because they didn't rest their guys. So he basically, one of his things was giving guys that amount of time so he could demand the most from them when it was needed.
It's a great discussion.
Pop's, I mean, Pop's Pop. Right?
Oh yeah, Pop's nuts. That's why he hates.
He's not only brilliant and the track record speaks for itself, but he's also been totally unafraid to make his own decisions, which is something that I incredibly respect.
Well, when you have that much success too, and it's continued to prove.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you have but still, right? Like
for
you
sure.
still like have to have the chops to be like, I'm gonna do this.
I have a fun little rapid fire if you're cool with that.
Yeah, rapid fire.
Sure, done.
Do I have time to go?
Wait, do you still
time to go
write
pee?
like that?
I'm pretty good eater. Pretty good eater.
No, I just need to go
minutes?
pee. It's like it takes me 38 seconds. These
Okay.
White Claws run through.
All right,
you.
I can
What
do it
the
with them
fuck?
until you
Ready?
get back.
No. Just stay here. I gotta pee too, so come on.
Okay, so then it all is dependent on your answer. So it's kind of rapid fire, but you can kind of get into it.
Ready,
if you
set,
want.
go.
You know what?
You can all go in. Ready?
My dad talks a lot. It's passed down to me.
I freaking love it. I just wanted to
I try
respect
to-
your time. So.
Oh yeah, dude. Did
When
you
Channing
not see
mentioned
me
it.
being like, oh?
I know. I see the clock
Don't
too.
let.
Okay, cool.
Don't
All
let
right,
Steve be late
based
for
off
no.
of your high five feature and being the high five king, who is the best high fiver? Oh,
Channing
for everyone.
You see, Shake's like a bro too. Look.
And this,
He was the one white guy on the AAU team that everybody loved. He was like, hey, where's at? Where's my dog Steve? Where's my dog Steve at? There you go.
I with you down.
y'all can weigh in on this too, but which is harder, a penalty kick or a free throw with the game on the line?
Oh, penalty kick.
No, free throw.
What? A penalty kick?
It's one-on-one.
That's a great question.
Dude, a penalty kick.
You have no
more?
idea.
Yeah, I do.
Jordan?
I played
That's a
intramurals
great
one time.
question. I mean,
Bergen.
if you're
They all
a
came up with-
great free throw shooter, I would say free throw because there's no defense.
Yeah.
Right? It is you and your guts and your technique and your belief. But the penalty shootout, you throw into it like it might be 0-0.
Yeah.
Right? There might be no score. This is the one chance to break the deadlock, win the game.
And they can make a great play.
And there's a goalkeeper, and there's there's just more elements involved. So, in a sense,
Such a soccer answer. You shot 90% from the free throw line.
Next question.
Jesus Christ.
Which
That's
is the
exactly what I'm
best-
saying.
Which is the best national anthem? United States or Canada?
Oh, Canada's really good.
Canada is fire. Canada is fire. Like, they remixed it.
Growing up in Canada, I never thought the anthem was anything
Until you came to
I
US?
came to the NBA. No, I like the U.S. anthem. I came to the NBA. All my teammates, throughout my career, were like,
They can all sing it.
love that anthem.
Let that happen. Oh,
And I was like, really? I didn't know it. And I was
God
like,
save our. Yeah, I know the whole anthem. Let's just say we'll end it on this: the f***ing Phoenix Suns are finally winning games again.
how about that?
Dude,
huh?
how about James Jones?
That James Jones.
When he told me his plan,
Junie Jones.
when he told me his plan this summer, I was like, I mean, I see it, sort of.
Well, I think what's interesting for them is Baines has been much better.
Yeah, Baines is
and
huge.
credited
How about
for
Ricky?
shooting threes,
Huge,
defensive.
But
then
you
they
know
don't even
what?
have
You're
eight yet.
allowing Ricky.
How about
Ricky
Ricky though? Not just Ricky, but Ricky with Devin.
Ricky, I saw the Ricky thing. I'm not saying I saw the Ricky, but I could tell that team needed an organizer,
with Ricky.
Someone
a
that
creative
understands the
player,
game.
someone that's clever, that knows how to play basketball and make things easy and simple, and cut out all the me first stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I haven't touched it for 3 possessions. Well, as soon as I get it, this thing's going up somehow.
You don't have an
can't win like
excuse
that.
for being
No.
selfish.
You can't win like that,
Well,
right?
young
Exactly.
teams do that, and then you bring in a guy that's like, no, if you're missing a couple of shots, I'm going to go run our offense, or
Right.
I'm going to go do this. It's not about you getting your numbers. So yeah, the Ricky Rubio thing is huge.
Like
Baines
Devin
is
Booker
tough.
I
shooting
saw
20
Ricky,
for
but
30?
Baines I think has been better than people anticipated.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how it elevates everyone to have
Yeah.
two veterans that play hard, compete, but also bring a skill set to the team. I
We
mean,
have 3.
I'm happy. What's
Who
that?
was the third?
Tyler
Tyler who?
from Miami. He comes off the bench. He's a nice backup.
Who the
Dude, listen.
The guy that got his teeth knocked out.
Who?
In Miami?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
still again.
I forgot his last name.
Well,
But
then obviously he ain't been that important.
he's good. He just got
I'm
like.
not saying he's not good, but we can't give
forgot his
him
name,
credit
but I'm
for the
saying-
success of the Phoenix. Who?
Johnson.
Yes.
out of here.
Dude, stop
Tyler
it.
Johnson can play a little bit, but I'm not going to put him on the same
He was
level
there
as
last year.
I'm not going to put him on the same
He was there
level
last
as
year.
Aaron Baines.
Yeah, but I'm
and
saying
Ricky
what he's
Rubio.
done in that for that culture is hold people accountable.
Agreed.
Right? When Ricky Rubio goes out, he comes in, he plays the same way, he works hard.
Did you
he's a
guys
good
get my
player.
shoes? Did you guys get my shoes? 'Cause my shoes are really fire.
Don't get his
Okay,
shoes.
and on
I
that
want to always
note,
look at my shoes.
Payless,
My shoes
Hakeem
are-
Olajuwon
my
looking
shoes
joints.
are fire. Look at woo,
Steve.
woo. That's a profile right there.
Nice.
Look at
What
that.
happens here?
Steve, can you believe that we
Steve's
have a
got
show
great
with these
shoes
two?
too.
Oh, it's amazing.
With
All
these
right.
two?
Steve,
All right.
this was amazing.
Thank you
I don't
so
know.
much for making the time.
How do we do?
Steve,
Yeah, no,
that
that was
was
our
the best
ruined-
episode ever.
I ruined the show.
Great.